You are born into a world most people will never see and spend the rest of your life trying to unsee. Your father is not famous yet, not in the way he will become. Right now, he is simply a man who moves through rooms like he owns them, because he usually does. A financier. A name that opens doors in Manhattan, in Palm Beach, in the corridors of power that most people only read about in newspapers. The men who run the world know his number. Some of them call it, "You don't know any of this yet. You are just a child." His child. And for now, that feels like the safest place on earth. It will not always feel that way. Part 1. The world you inherit. Your earliest memories are of marble and silence. The Manhattan townhouse on East 71st Street is 7 stories tall, 21,000 square feet of dark wood paneling, gilded ceilings, and rooms that seem to exist for no practical purpose except to remind anyone who enters that the man who lives here operates on a different scale than the rest of humanity. There is a taxidermy tiger in the entrance hall. You walk past it every morning on the way to breakfast. By age 5, you have stopped noticing it. This is what wealth does. It normalizes the absurd. Your father moves through the house like a current. When he is present, everything organizes itself around him. Staff straighten. Phones are answered faster. The energy in every room shifts the moment he walks into it. When he is absent, which is often, the house becomes a museum. Enormous, immaculate, and completely still. He has properties everywhere. The Palm Beach estate on the Intracoastal Waterway, 14,000 square feet in the same neighborhood as Mar-a-Lago. The ranch in New Mexico, 7,500 acres of high desert where he retreats when he wants to disappear entirely. And then there is the island, Little St. James, 70 acres of Caribbean paradise off the coast of St. Thomas, accessible only by helicopter or boat. A theater, a library, a gym, a pool, guest villas built into the hillside. Your father calls it Little St. Jeff's. The locals have other names for it, names you will not learn until much later. As a child, the island feels like paradise. The water is impossibly blue. You can see the bottom of the ocean from 20 feet up. Hawks circle the cliffs in the morning. Your father sits on the terrace at sunset with men whose names you half recognize from television, from newspapers, from the conversations adults have when they think children aren't listening. Princes, politicians, scientists, professors. They arrive by helicopter and leave the same way, and nobody asks too many questions about what happens in between. You are too young to ask the right questions. And by the time you are old enough, you have already learned that in your father's world, questions are the most dangerous thing a person can carry. Part 2. The education. Your father believes in intelligence above everything. He funds science. He collects thinkers the way other wealthy men collect art. At dinner, the conversation moves between quantum physics, evolutionary biology, geopolitics, the nature of human consciousness. You are expected to keep up. You learn to keep up. You develop a mind sharp enough to move through those conversations without stumbling, which is exactly what he wants. He also teaches you, without ever stating it directly, that the rules that govern other people do not apply to men like him. You see this in small ways first. The way a Palm Beach police officer waves the car through without checking. The way a customs official at the airport averts his eyes from the bags being loaded onto the private jet. The way lawyers appear within minutes of a phone call, smooth and expressionless, carrying leather briefcases and absolute discretion. Power, you learn, is not just what you have. It is what others quietly agree not to see. There is a woman who is always there, elegant, British accented, fiercely competent. She manages the houses, the staff, the social calendar, the careful choreography of your father's life. She is warm to you in the way that people are warm when warmth is also a function of their job. She laughs at your father's jokes a half second before they land. You notice this, you file it away. You are becoming, without realizing it, a student of power dynamics in one of the most concentrated classrooms on earth. The women who pass through your father's world are young. This is something you absorb slowly, the way you absorb all uncomfortable truths, gradually at the edges of your awareness, never quite confronting it directly, because confronting it directly would require you to follow the thought to its conclusion. And the conclusion is a place you are not ready to go. Some of them look at you with something you cannot name at the time. You will name it later. It is the look of someone who wants to warn you, but cannot find the words that would not destroy everything. Part 3. The name and what it costs. You are a teenager when the first investigation begins. Palm Beach, 2005. A parent files a complaint. The word investigators starts appearing in conversations your father has in closed rooms with the door shut. Lawyers multiply. The energy in the house changes in a way you feel before you understand. The guards who were always present double. The phone calls happen at unusual hours. Your father is calm in the way that very controlled people are calm, not because there is nothing to fear, but because showing fear is itself a form of surrender. The plea deal comes in 2008. 13 months in a county jail, work release 6 days a week, registered sex offender. The details of what he did, the 36 girls, the youngest of them 14 years old, are sealed in an agreement that his lawyers spent years constructing. The victims are not consulted. Their names are protected in a way that his name is not, which means the world knows what he is accused of, and he walks out of a Florida courthouse with a sentence that legal experts will spend the next decade calling one of the most lenient in the history of American jurisprudence. You carry the name through all of it, and a name like his is not something you carry quietly. It precedes you into every room. It follows you out of every conversation. It sits in the search results when anyone types your name into a computer. And it will sit there forever, immovable, permanent, a monument to something you had no part in building and no power to demolish. You did not choose this man as your father. You did not choose the island or the townhouse or the private jets or the men who arrived at dawn and left before sunrise. You did not choose the women who looked at you with that look you could not name. You did not choose any of it. But the world will never quite believe that, because the world has a simple relationship with last names. They are either a gift or a sentence. Yours is both at the same time. The ending. In August in 2019, your father dies in a Manhattan jail cell. He was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. New victims had come forward. The case against him was, by all accounts, devastating. And then, on a Saturday morning, guards doing their rounds found him unresponsive. The medical examiner ruled it suicide by hanging. Others were not so certain. The cameras outside his cell malfunctioned that night. The guards on duty had both fallen asleep. His cellmate had been transferred out the day before. The questions that surrounded his life followed him into death and have never been answered. Probably they never will be. What is left is the wreckage. The victims, hundreds of them by the time it was over, who spent years and decades trying to be believed, trying to be seen, trying to get someone with enough power to care. The powerful men whose names appeared in flight logs and contact books and court documents, and who mostly continued their lives without consequence. The institutions that took his money and asked no questions. The systems that bent themselves into shapes to accommodate him. And you, left with a last name that the entire world has already decided what to do with. You did not build this empire of cruelty. You did not sign the non-disclosure agreements or arrange the flights or manage the calendar of access. You were a child in a house full of things a child should never have been near. But grief is complicated when the person you are grieving is also a monster. Love does not come with an asterisk. It does not wait for the full picture before it attaches itself. You loved a man who the world rightly despises. You carry that contradiction every single day, and there is no clean resolution to it. There is no version of this story where you come out whole. Somewhere, there are women who were 14 years old when your father decided their lives were his to take. They are grown now. Some of them have children of their own. All of them carry something that was put inside them without their consent and cannot be removed. You carry something too. A name, a history. The memory of a man who braided complexity into everything he touched, including you. The island is empty now. The helicopter pad is overgrown. The blue water still catches the light at sunset the way it always did. The hawks still circle the cliffs in the morning. And somewhere in the silence that follows every story like this one, there are questions that never got answered, and people who never got justice, and a world that looked away for a very long time before it finally looked back. This is your inheritance. You didn't ask for it, but it belongs to you now. The gold is real. So are the stains.